With a population of almost 40 million people, Spain is a sophisticated and thoroughly modern country, tastefully integrating its rich history of Iberian, Roman, Gothic, and Moorish cultures. Barcelona has a rich history of supporting the arts and was home to some of Spain's most celebrated artists, including Miró, Picasso, and the country's most famous architect, Gaudí. Next, we travel to the Costa del Sol, Spain's sunny southern coast. From our base in the resort town of Marbella, we visited Granada and the beautiful medieval town of Ronda. We also crossed the Straits of Gibraltar into Africa for a one-day visit to Tangier in Morocco. The highlight of our trip was a visit to Seville, the capital of Andalusia and home to the April Fair. From here, we explored the ancient Roman theater at Italica and the historically significant cities of Córdoba and Carmona. Madrid is the capital of Spain, its business center and home to some of the most beautiful museums and palaces in the world. Toledo is the city made famous by Cervantes in his novel Don Quixote. Its churches contain some of the greatest works of art in Spain, notably those by the painter El Greco. Perhaps Spain's most famous emissary was the Italian explorer Christopher Columbus, whose discovery of the New World provided Spain with the gold needed to avoid financial ruin after several hundred years of war trying to expel the Moors from the country. Spain's exploration and exploitation of the New World had two lasting effects: the spread of Christianity to a large part of the world's population, and the import of huge amounts of gold into Spain. It's not hard to figure out where the gold went. In 1401, the people of Seville decided to erect a new and glorious cathedral, equal to the status of their great city. And that they did. It is the largest and highest cathedral in Spain, the largest Gothic building in the world, and the world's third largest church, after St. Peter's in Rome and St. Paul's in London. It was in Seville that Queen Isabella gave Columbus money for his expedition in 1492, the same year that the Moors were finally defeated at Alhambra. And it is here in this cathedral that he was finally laid to rest, as the hero whose discovery allowed Spain to become one of the most powerful nations of this era. Spain is a country of magnificent and historic churches, some dating back more than 1,000 years. La Catedral de la Seu, a magnificent example of Gothic architecture, was built between 1298 and 1450. Each Sunday morning, Barcelonans gather in its plaza to meet, talk, and dance the sardana in a display of Catalan pride. The Church of Santa Maria stands on the site of a 13th century mosque in the old part of Ronda, called La Ciudad. The more modern church of La Merced was built in the 17th century after the new Mercadillo district was developed on the other side of the Tajo Gorge. Dating back to Roman times, This charming city of 30,000 still retains its distinctly Moorish architecture. Its bull ring is the oldest, and some say the most beautiful in Spain. The Church of San Pedro, dating from 1466, and the Santa Maria Church, built in the Gothic style between 1424 and 1518, are nestled along the narrow streets of this medieval town. Claiming to be one of the oldest inhabited places in Spain, Carmona later became an important town under both the Romans and the Moors. The Seville Gate was constructed in the 2nd century. During our visits to Carmona and nearby Córdoba, we stayed at the historic Parador de Carmona, a recently converted 14th century alcazar or Moorish fortress. This elegant lodging was the temporary residence of Ferdinand and Isabella during the Siege of Alhambra in 1492. Originally built as a mosque in the 8th century, this majestic building was converted to a cathedral in 1236, after the reconquest of Córdoba by the Catholics. The cathedral is located just off the Callejón de las Flores, one of the many lovely winding streets in this city that served as both the Roman and Moorish capitals of Spain. The leading role played by Toledo in the influence of religion on the art and culture of Spain is symbolized in this cathedral, built in 1227. It is constructed on the site of a former Visigoth church, where, according to legend, the Virgin descended to this temple to bestow her blessing on Saint Eugene in the 1st century. The convent church, Saint Juan de los Reyes, was erected by Ferdinand and Isabella to commemorate the victory of Toro in 1476. It was intended to be their burial place. The rock on which Toledo stands was inhabited in prehistoric times and was an important Iberian settlement when the Romans came in 192 BC. During their occupation, the Moors furthered its reputation as a center for learning and religion. Judaism played an important part in Spanish history, with a significant population under Visigoth rule beginning in the 4th century. In 589, after adoption of Christianity, Jews were given the option of conversion or emigration, and in 694, the remaining Jews were enslaved. The Muslim invaders of 711 were welcomed by the Jews of Spain as liberators. Spain's Muslim rulers released Jews from slavery and gave them the opportunity to contribute to medicine, philosophy, and literature, as well as to cultivate great centers for traditional Jewish learning. Maimonides, who wrote the basis for modern Jewish law in the 12th century, spent a good part of his life in this synagogue in Córdoba. Once the Moors were driven from most of Spain, centuries of peaceful existence ended with the introduction of the Inquisition in 1481. The Synagogue del Tránsito and the Old Synagogue, which was later converted to the Santa Maria del Blanco Church, are the only remaining ancient temples in Toledo. By the time of the Islamic conquest in 685, the Jewish community in North Africa was one of the most religiously and scholastically active in the world. It is here that many Jews fled after they were expelled from Spain. The great centers of Islamic study in Morocco were also great centers of Jewish learning and home to many famous rabbis. Founded in the 4th century BC, the Romans, Phoenicians, Arabs, Spaniards, Portuguese, and the English have jealously fought for the right to control this strategically important corner of Africa. The Berbers, with their ornate headdresses, have lived in Morocco for at least 4,000 years, but their history is not accurately recorded. In the Atlas Mountains, Berber villages exist and function much as they have throughout their history. A walk down the narrow, winding streets of Tangier's Kasbah provides a wide range of photographic opportunities and a chance to experience local entertainment or to purchase a handmade rug.
The warp runs along the length of the rug, and the fineness of the weave depends on its thickness and the proximity of the warps to one another.
Flamenco is a uniquely Spanish and, more appropriately, Southern Spanish art form, consisting of music, song, and dance. It owes its heritage to the gypsies that inhabited southern Spain during the centuries of Moorish rule, but was certainly influenced by the diverse cultures that lived in this region. You can attend flamenco performances throughout Spain, but its heart is certainly in Seville, the capital of Andalusia. Barcelona, the center of Catalonia, had its beginnings more than 2,000 years ago, when the original settlement built by Iberian tribes was annexed to the Roman Empire. After occupation by the Moors and Franks in the 8th and 9th centuries, it became the independent state of Catalonia in 988. Although it has been part of Spain since 1474, it has remained fiercely independent, revolting against the central government on numerous occasions. They speak 2 languages in Barcelona, Castilian and Catalan. The Olympic Stadium was originally built in 1929 in anticipation of hosting the Olympics, but politics intervened and the Games were held that year in Germany. However, Barcelona did play host to the 1992 Olympics. The Ramblas, Barcelona's most famous promenade, is a wide pedestrian boulevard lined with bars, restaurants, kiosks, local artists, mimes, and other street entertainers. Most of all, it is a colorful flood of humanity. Barcelona has 5 monuments classified as World Heritage Sites, and 3 were built by the architect Espai Gaudi. The unfinished temple for the Sagrada family is the most visited site in Barcelona. This magical edifice soars up from the center of the city, attracting the attention of all who catch a glimpse of it. Gaudi dedicated half his life to the structure, but was unfortunately killed in a train accident in 1926 during construction. The Casa Mila was built in the middle of Barcelona's most fashionable district and was not originally welcomed by its residents. Its eye-catching facade portrays a sea of stone with wrought iron balconies. Today, the building houses the head offices of the Bank of Catalonia. The rooftop, adorned with ceramic-clad chimneys, gives the impression of an army of stony warmongers. This is truly a feast for the photographer. Yes, we attended a bullfight in the city of Marbella, but we only stayed for the first few minutes, not wishing to witness the killing of the standard 6 bulls on this sunny Sunday afternoon.
Entre flores, fandanguillos y alegría, nació mi España, la tierra del amor.
Marbella is a prosperous resort city on the Costa del Sol and a favorite summer retreat for both Europeans and Spaniards. We stayed at the luxurious Don Carlos Hotel, located right on the beach. It has inviting swimming pools and manicured gardens.
¡Que viva España! Y siempre lo recordará. ¡Que viva España! La gente canta con ardor. ¡Que viva España! La vida...
It looks like we're going to a party. Horsemanship is a revered tradition in Spain and was one of the attractions of the party we attended in a converted estate just outside the city. The April Fair, Seville's greatest party of the year, began as a horse trading fair in 1847. Today, this week-long festival features horse parades with men in broad-brimmed hats and women in long, ruffled dresses. It is held in the permanent fairgrounds, a short walk from the center of the city. Each caseta, a colorful festive tent, is rented for the week by companies, associations, individuals, or small groups. Friends are invited to eat, drink, sing, and dance, starting at midday and extending to the wee hours of the morning. Seville, Spain's fourth largest city with a population of 800,000 people, has a long and noble history, beginning with the Roman conquest in 205 BC. Just outside the city lies the ruins of the Roman city of Italica, with its well-preserved theater. Seville is justly proud of its literary and artistic association. The tale of the ingenious knight of La Mancha, Don Quixote, was started by Cervantes when he languished in debtor's prison here. Don Juan carried out his amorous escapades in Seville's mansions, and Bizet's sultry Carmen first met Don Jose in the old tobacco factory, which is now the site of the University of Seville. The Barrio de Santa Cruz, with its winding streets lined with whitewashed houses, was the site for the wedding of Rossini's famous barber, Figaro. During our visit to Seville, we stayed at the opulent Alfonso XIII Hotel, home to royalty and a monument in itself, with its marble floors, wood panels, and ceramic tiles. Despite occupation prior to Roman times, the city of Madrid began as a defensive bastion during Muslim rule in the 9th century. It was reconquered by the Catholics in the 11th century, several hundred years before the Moors were expelled from the rest of Spain. Madrid's Royal Palace is an impressive example of classic Italian Baroque style. Construction was begun under Philip V, the first king to have his residence here. The Royal Pharmacy is just one of 2,800 ornate rooms that make up this beautiful palace, which includes a dining hall large enough to serve 140 guests. The last monarch to live here was Alfonso XIII, who was hounded out of the country in 1931 by a populace fed up with royal oppression. Just in front of the palace, statues of Spain's monarchs line the path to the northern entrance. The grand yet austere Plaza Mayor has seen it all over the years, from the canonization of saints to the public burning of heretics, from royal marriages and masked balls to criminal executions and bullfights. Today, it is a peaceful place to sit and enjoy the hand-painted frescoes on the walls. Well, Hemingway did not eat in all the restaurants in Spain, but it seems that Columbus slept in every city, as indicated by this statue of the explorer in the Plaza de Colón. Along Madrid's stylish Calle de Serrano, you can find wonderful ways to spend a rainy afternoon. Spain is a country rich in history, art, music, culture, and color. To the visitor, it combines the splendor of another era with the convenience of a thoroughly modern country. I hope that you have enjoyed this brief look at one of Europe's most enjoyable travel destinations.